Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and welcome to the podcast. I hope you guys, it's crazy to think I've been doing this podcast for so long, and I still get new ideas, and that's thanks to you guys. So just so you know, the podcast is built for team members and teams, doctors and owners, by team members and practice owners, to give you guys the best tips and tricks to be able to share from hundreds of practices across the nation and across the globe, to give you the shortcuts to success and to give you a community so you don't feel like you have to do this alone. I was at my, oh my gosh, I'm going to say the words on the podcast. You guys, you're going to find out how old I am. I went to my 20-year high school reunion. I kid you not. And I was terrified to go. None of my friends from high school that I hung out with in high school were going. So I was going kind of solo. And by like none of my friends, I did know people, but they weren't like the close friends that I'd hung out with all the time. None of them were going. And I was super stressed and I didn't know if I wanted to go. And I almost bailed out about 20 times. And then I decided, Kiera, like you can always just leave. Just go say hello. You've already paid. It's right by my parents' house. It's not far away. And it was interesting because there was a girl that we weren't necessarily close in high school. I knew of her, she knew of me, but it was fun because she built a business, I built a business, and we were talking because when you're business owners, you know, there's not a lot of people you can actually geek out with all the time and talk to them about business strengths and weaknesses. And she said to me, she said, you know, Kiera, I'd really love to get with you more often because I feel like as business owners, we need that community and we need people that are like us to help us know that we're going through it. And I just thought, I am so lucky because my dentists do have a community and the dentists I consult have a community and they don't have to do this alone. And they're like, I've literally been there, done that and done it successfully. And our team has been there, done that and done it successfully. And we're able to share with you all the tips and all the tricks and all the things. So that way you don't have to go through the hard things. If I could find somebody who has grown a consulting company, which I did, that's who I hired as my coach. But really just like leaning in. And then what I decided to do is our dentists, we actually meet the first Tuesday of every month. We call that Think Tank Tuesday for our one-on-one clients. And then our group mastermind, which is so freaking fun. It's a really, 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 really awesome community that I'm loving. And they get way more access than they even do on one-on-one. But every single week they come together for Ask Consultants Everything. And then we also have a mastermind where they get to come together as well. And my biggest piece was, I was thinking back to why did I join Tony Robbins? And I thought I joined it for Tony Robbins, but I realized I joined it for a community of people that push me, that I'm not the smartest one in the room, that people can help me run my business in ways that I don't even know, because community is what we're all here for. And so for you guys to just think like, how blessed are we to have this podcast community, to be able to come and share from hundreds of practices and get best ideas and to really get out there. Because what I found is in today's world, we don't have to be alone unless we want to. We don't have to do this on our own unless we want to. And I will literally give you every single piece of knowledge that I have anywhere and everywhere to make sure that you succeed and that you live the life you want. My goal is to positively impact the world of dentistry in the greatest way possible. Dentistry is my platform and life is my passion, to give you guys the life that you deserve, to give you the team and the skills for doctors and teams to flourish. So today I really wanted to just go through a quick tactical for you about inventory management, which is not my typical podcast style. Normally I'm more about life, but today I thought, let me give you guys some quick tips on how to do supplies and to keep track of your supplies and make sure that we don't have shortages, make sure that we're within budget, and kind of just helping you and your team get on that. Because what I found is so much of profitability comes from tracking our supplies, tracking our overhead. And if we can get that dialed in, that's one less thing that we have to worry about. So, hey, who's for ease? I'm here for ease, because at the end of the day, we can do it the hard way or we can do it the easy way. And I would love to share with you the fastest, easiest tips I've learned. And then also what I expect from you as the community is, if you have ways that I'm not talking about on the podcast, please email me, hello@thedentaleteam.com. I'll either bring you on as a guest, or we can take some of your ideas if you don't want to be a guest and share it, because I believe that yes, while you're consuming and receiving, it's also important for you to give back. And I believe that the secret to living a fulfilled life is giving back and serving as well. There's so much fulfillment in my life to serve you and to give you these tips and to give you resources from other practices, but I want to be able to give it to you without their experiences as well. So whether that's you join us and become one of our ambassadors who actually get to help coach some of our doctors, whether it's you become a client, we're able to help with that, or you just email me in and share some of your greatest ideas, I would love that. I would love it so much. And it will make you feel good because then you were able to share an idea. And everyone thinks their ideas are dumb. And guess what? going from hundreds of practices, most practices are actually not doing it. And some of my best ideas are the simplest things, like an office had stand-up desk for their front office. And I thought, gosh, I wish so many other offices knew that. So no idea is dumb. And I just want you to not feel scared to share. And don't worry, I will always polish it up and make you sound like $1,000,000. So you never, ever, ever, ever have to worry. Just email me hello@thedentistry.com and be sure to give back, because I think that that's a great way for you to also feel fulfilled. So with supplies, number one, I like supplies to be at a 4 or a 5% of total collections. So a great thing, there's a supply spreadsheet that I've given to a lot of our offices that we consult, where it literally is just what are they doing for their ordering, and then what is the budget? Because so often, like I was a dental assistant, I would just order what we'd always ordered in the past, and that's actually not the best way to do inventory management, and that we don't need to. So if we give them a 4%, so let's just make our math super simple. If we're collecting 100,000, 4% is $4,000, 5% would be 5,000. And then what they do is whomever's ordering, they just put it on a spreadsheet, they just deduct it down, and that's their budget for the month. Now, something else that I love are clear tip out bins. I'm obsessed with going into offices and finding this beautiful blank wall. And I found it in every practice. So don't think that your practice can't do it. Sometimes you have to get a little creative, but there's always space for it. But the clear bins, when I worked at Midwestern University's dental college in Arizona, we bought so much extra inventory because we couldn't see things. And think about our houses. Like, yes, we can tuck it in drawers, but we can't see things. And for inventory, we want to be able to see things to know how much do we actually have of things. And so even at the dental college, students would stock their drawers, and we would go through so much composite because people would be hoarding composite. And so I'm also not obsessed with stocking rooms a ton, especially if you want to get your inventory down and get your supplies lower, which you can absolutely do. And so what I love to do is have the spreadsheet and the budget, so whomever's ordering knows exactly how much they can spend. Let's not have it be free reign. You can also do it for the front office. I know Amazon can really run quickly on us, but make them just track it on a quick, simple spreadsheet. That way we can always watch that and get that in control. I understand that if you order implants, you might need to go higher. If an office is doing implants, I usually add together the supplies and the labs, and I do about between 12 and 14%, again, depending upon the rest of your practice. I'm aiming for a 50% overhead, excluding doctor pay. So you can kind of play with the numbers and figure out, but a good like overall supply budget is like 4 to 5%. That does include hygiene supplies as well. And front office, I usually give them a 0.5% to 1% for front office supplies. Again, look at your overhead, look at the percentages. We have an incredible overhead calculator that has it all broken down into the percentages of what we recommend for each category. And then you can use your P&L and plug it in, and it's really awesome. So with that said, I love to get that budget set up. And then if we can, let's get those clear bins set up so that way we can see. Some offices will draw a line on the bin of like, when it gets down to here, this is when we order. So we can visually see, and it becomes so fast. You can put tags. There's some inventory management where some people will tag it and then just scan it. Other people have the tags on the bin. So it's very quick when we need to reorder, cuts down the time for us. I do really love some buying GPOs. Synergy is one. So be sure to let them know Dentally Team sent you. I think they're great because they have a whole buying group. It's kind of like Costco, where we get cheaper items because we're with the group of multiples. And I think Synergy is one of the best. It allows you to still work with your preferred vendors. They do work primarily with Darby. However, with that said, you can still work with most of them and still get discounts. So yes, it might take a little bit of time to get up to date, but hey, if we can buy the same stuff and actually just save ourselves a couple $100 a month or a couple thousand, isn't that worth it? I always say yes. So that's another thing, is to look into that Synergy or a buying group such as that. If you have a buying group you love, please be sure to reach out. Let me know. hello@thedentally.com. I will happily vet them, find out about them, and see if it's someone I would recommend to our community. But with that, then what we want to do is we also want to make sure that our team knows what our supplies need to be. And then everybody, I really am not obsessed with having things in operatories, because if I have to stock 6 operatories with composite, that can get very costly. And so also having tubs or those carts, if you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to reach out. I'm happy to share pictures with you. But cart parking. And so we have like 2 carts for implants. We've got a cart for endo. We've got our composite, and you can have little tubs or bins. It just has everything in it. And think about how many doctors we have, how many providers, but then we just basically take it from sterile on our tray setup, take it to the room, we clean it all up, put it away, and off it goes. And then all I have to do is just stock the carts or the bins rather than stocking all the rooms. And I had a practice that we were actually able to cut down their supply costs exponentially due to the fact that all we had to do was literally just take it out of the operatories, and we were able to save so much because stocking each room was so costly, and I'm having to stock basically 6 offices versus just having to stock those bins. The bins are also faster because I can look for it, we can fill it, and then it's all in sterile, everything's there. You can have drop downs. I saw an office that actually had drop down bins, so it's like I guess a clothing pull down, like in closets where they're really tall. They did that for their sterile, and it was amazing because they were able to have all their supplies right there. People were able to then just like restock the bins. And I did this at Midwestern when I was at the college. And what I found was I didn't have to have as many supplies because I was able to see everything. And also we had the tubs and the bins. So not as many things had to go. And I think that that's just a good way for you guys to get the supplies down, to keep track of the supplies, to not have the supply shortages. But again, visually getting everything out. So if you were starting this, sometimes even just in the operatories, I do keep my disposables like cotton, gauze, floss, things that we're using all the time that are very minimal cost. Those stick in the operatories. You can also get the clear bins and stick them right behind your 12 o'clock cabinet. That way, all those things are very easy. You can see them. They're not very minimal things that we've got to stock, but really the bins are so easy. Offices love them. It might seem like a little bit change, but it makes it very, very, very simple for it. So a lot of those things, yes, I keep my disposables, my suctions in the rooms. Those things are very simple. We use them all the time. Keep those there, and they're not very costly. But the composite, the matricey bands, the impression material, all those things do become a little more costly. And so being able to cut those down really can save. And then empower someone. Empower them to be your supply champion. Empower them to really be able to grow this and get the person who's obsessed with like winning and figuring out how they can make ends meet. They're usually the person who really loves to be over supplies, and then they know their budget, they save the money, and they're able to get it. Oftentimes buying deals when like a company has like buy 2, get 1 free, run the numbers and make sure it's actually a good deal, because sometimes they're not that good of a deal. So there's my quick tactical practical for you of inventory management. Like I said, set up the spreadsheet with the budget, make sure we're tracking it, give the budgets to them, look at your overhead. Then the clear bins are a great thing. You can just Google them. There's a lot of them, like Z-Line, I think, is a company that has them. But just Google clear tip out bins. They come in multiple sizes. You'll want a nice big wall. You can also put them in the operatories. Take things out of the operatory so it's all in one place. It's easier for people to track and manage. And then give someone like the empowerment to just rock it and to make sure that we're never out of things. I usually used to check my supplies like every week. My supply person usually gets 1 hour. It can be per week or every other week, depending upon how much you guys need to order. And that usually can keep the order going consistently. Yes, when we run this lean, we do have to order more often. But it's a great way to keep it to where we're not over bulking, overstocking, because we don't want to order as much. And then get into that GPO, a group buying. And like Synergy, like I mentioned, can actually save you a lot of money for buying the exact same things you're already doing, and you don't have to change. So check them out. Be sure to tell them Dental Team sent you. If we can help you guys with this, get it set up, talk to your clinical team, get them excited and on board. That's what we're here for. And as always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Dental Team podcast.